Hey, what's up digital warriors? My name is Alex, and in this video I'm going to walk you through how to create TailwindCSS based buttons on a no-code builder so that you can build, create, manage, even style your buttons globally without having to touch a single line of code. And we're going to do this with a platform called YCode. So to get started, we're going to head over to YCode.com. And we're going to log in to our account, create an account if you don't have one yet. So I'll just go over here and click login. From here, I'm going to create my very first little Tailwind CSS button project. So I'll just call it Tailwind Buttons. And once the builder's loaded up, you'll see an interface that's quite similar to what you have with Webflow. It's pretty standard for a modern web builder interface. But the main difference with YCode is that it allows you to either import, export, or build fully in Tailwind. So everything that you do visually with all the buttons creates Tailwind utility classes, make it really easy for you to manage and style. So we're going to start off by adding a new button. So I'm going to head over to the little plus element at the top here, and I'm going to first add a section, container, and I'm going to chuck in my first button here. Now, this has created a basic button, and it's styled this button using Tailwind utility classes. I know this because if I go and have a look at the advanced settings here, I can see all of the different Tailwind styles that have been applied through those utility classes. If I wanted to change the styling of this button, I can do it in two ways. I can either write my native Tailwind classes directly into the builder, or I can use the builder controls to change those styles. So if I was to give an example, I can go background, let's choose a fancy indigo and set background to indigo 500. So color indigo, shade of 500. And you can see then in the styling, it's applied that background color as a utility class. Same thing goes for any other styling within the builder. If I was to say change the spacing or the padding from 20 pixels to 40, do so here, and do on the other side, check my classes, see it's added padding left 40 pixels, padding right pixels 2. So creating the button is pretty easy, right? We can do it all visually. We can change all the settings here. If I wanted to change the font color, I could do that as well. If I wanted to change the hover state, so what it looks like when someone hovers over the button, I can do that too. So I change it to a much darker color. Then on the builder, I can see here when I hover over it, it switches to what I have visually added without coding. What happens if I want to create multiple buttons? Well, I could go over to my panel and simply duplicate the button. So you can do that with Control or Command D, or right click duplicate. And again, I can then change the different buttons. What now if I wanted to be able to create multiple buttons on my website and style them all in one location? Well, we do this through what are called layer styles in YCode. So let's say I've built this first button as my ideal button, primary button that I want to use throughout my website. So in the top right hand side of the builder here, I'm going to click on new, and I'm going to call this button primary. Save it. And if I was to then add a new button, you can see here it's back to its default styling. I can quickly apply the styles of my primary button to the new button that I've just added. But Alex, what if you wanted to change all the styles of that primary button? Well, you can do it pretty easily through the builder as well. So I'd go back to a button that has the layer style applied to it. I'd go and change what I want to change. So in this case, let's just change the background color. It's easy and obvious. Set it to red, and let's change our typography color as well. And you can then see there's a button that says update on the layer style. What that will do is update all other buttons that have the same style. So click here, update, give it a sec, and you'll see that first button that I added, same layer style, also inherits its styling. And I can really scale things in this way, right? I can create multiple variants of my buttons. I can create primary, secondary, bigger, smaller call to actions, and give them each their own layer style that can be controlled from that one central location, so that I'm not jumping through all the different pages on my website to find where did I add a button when I just wanted to add maybe around a corner slightly different shade to the background. I'll give you one example of this where I've put it into a project and what it looks like with all the different styles. All right, so this is a style page that I've created for one of my projects where I've interlinked all of my different brand styles from the one page so that I can control them globally when I need to. You can see I've added everything from my colors to my different typography styles. But if we scroll down a little bit further, you'll see my buttons. And from my buttons here, if I select one of them, you'll see they have a layer style applied to them. So I can see here, this is my primary button. If I wanted to change it to something different, I could do, let's make it a neutral color. See, it will switch it to then my neutral button. It keeps all of the content or any other changes that I've made that are unique to this button applied, so that if I do want to make changes to that parent style, the child styles, so the changes that I may have made to one individual button, won't be affected. For example, let's say I go into the settings of this button and I wanted the type size to be 2 rem. So I've got a much bigger button. And now let's say I change my original neutral style to something that's different. So for this example, just do the background color. We'll switch it to something that's pretty obvious and update that neutral button style. You can see my first button that had that layer style applied to it inherits the global changes, but it maintains the changes that I made to that unique button. And that's pretty much it. That's how you can really easily create, manage, and style buttons, but also any other component globally using Tailwind CSS and their utility classes on a no-code framework like YCode. Now, if you wanted to jumpstart your project and use this as a boilerplate to kickstart your own YCode websites and have everything already interlinked and pre-configured so it's really easy for you to start building without having to worry about setting up all of those different layer styles and interconnections, feel free to download the UI kit that I have here. And it includes all of the base styling as well as components to really quickly build out and scale your website. You can access this UI kit over at creator.gg, where you'll see an overview of the style kit as well as UI components. And if you did want to start using them, it's as simple as requesting access. A little pop-up will appear, fill out your email address, and it will give you a clonable link for the project so that you can start implementing it on your own YCode websites. That's pretty much it from me today. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know if you have any other questions or if you'd like to see anything specific in the Tailwind/no code space, and I'll catch you in the next video.